What the heck is a comic NFT? Before I get started, I just want to mention that this chapter, more than any, has a lot of graphics in it that aren't going to translate well when I'm narrating. So be sure to drop by the Substack, tjosvold.substack.com. So TJOSVOLD.substack.com. There will be links to images there. Okay, let's get started. NFT, non-fungible token. Ugh, could you have possibly come up with worse branding? I don't know about you, but I'd never even heard the word fungible before NFTs became a thing. It is a word that is hyper-specifically accurate and utilitarian, but let's face it, non-fungible lives in the same cringy word space as moist. See the appendix for a proper metaphorical definition, but to get started, think of non-fungible tokens as uniquely identifiable digital content. My NFT is not your NFT in the same way that my print copy of Uncanny X-Men 120 is not the same as your copy of Uncanny X-Men 120. But with an NFT, that digital content can be virtually any type of file: an image, a PDF, a 3D model, a music file, a movie, or even a collection of any combination of these digital files. So that complicates things. For this book, Comic NFT is just an NFT that in some way relates directly to comic book IP, so intellectual property. What follows are a few examples of the types of NFTs already in circulation. Type 1. Full issue comics. I started exploring NFT technology as a way to distribute full-length comic PDFs in Adobe's ubiquitous document sharing file format. So throughout this book, that is mostly what I'm thinking about when I'm talking about comic NFTs. My comic series, the Lump Sum Saga, will be issued as NFTs this way, using the exact same source files used to create print versions of my comic. This strategy is not unique. There are several companies experimenting with digital comic NFT sales, where the entire comic can be read. While I'll discuss comic NFTs which use the open standard PDF format, other companies are using undisclosed file formats. The Vivi app on iOS is one example using this approach. Type 2. Profile pictures, aka PFPs. The most in-your-face, in-the-media kind of NFT is the PFP, a picture for proof or profile pic, made famous by the hyper-expensive controversial Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs and similar. For many comic book fans and creatives, these are the only NFTs they've been exposed to, as they've repeatedly appeared in the news and on late-night TV. These NFTs offer a unique way to embellish your online persona. There are licensed comic NFT PFPs based on well-established properties like The Walking Dead and other projects that come from the opposite direction, where the project started with the PFP NFT and now comics are being created using that IP. This is as good a time as any to point out that there are inexpensive NFTs, even PFP NFTs, that sell for less than the price of a new comic at your local comic book shop. Not because they have crashed in value, but simply because that was their original sale price. Many of the PFPs in the news are effectively a digital flex, the equivalent of wearing a Rolex or driving a Lamborghini. But there is nothing to stop a creator from selling or even giving away an NFT, even PFPs. There are only 10,000 Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs held by just over 6,000 users. But there are literally millions of NFTs out there. High-value NFTs are the newsworthy exception, not the rule. Type 3. Art, covers and pages. Image files of any kind can be part of an NFT, although large JPEG and PNG files are the most common formats used. In the comic NFT space, that typically means cover images or individual pages of a comic, but in theory they could also be purpose-drawn images. As a creator, creating NFTs can become a relatively frictionless part of your production flow, as you can use the same files you generate for your print comic to create marketable NFTs. In fact, in the Topps Godzilla collection, there are even NFTs showing the black and white inks from the exact same internal pages. Type 4. Video. The notion of comic NFT videos may seem counterintuitive, as comic books are made of static images. But several creators have found ways to capitalize on this potential. For example, Todd McFarlane via oddkey.com used video to create an embellished, animated Spawn Issue 301 cover NFT that include movement effects and sounds. Some rare NFTs even included a unique one of one's signature being drawn in real time. While I've yet to see it done, a time-lapse drawing of the illustration of a comic page or character, as seen on Instagram or TikTok, would make a fascinating NFT for many collectors. Type 5. 3D collectibles. The ability to associate a 3D file with an NFT makes it possible to create and sell virtual 3D sculptures from comic book IP. The Vivi app even allows you to use augmented reality to place your digital collectible in a real-world scene, and then rotate and resize it. It's how I ended up with a photo of a board cube over my house. Type 6. Hybrids. Interested in NFTs but can't imagine not holding a physical item? HRO has you covered. Each card in their hybrid NFT trading card packs has a digital twin that can be loaded with their app. Even as an independent creator, there is no reason you couldn't put a QR code inside the back cover of your comic that would effectively make a similar win-win possible. Type 7. Representations of future physical goods and services. VIRL, virtual and real-life NFTs and equivalents, represent real-world merchandise and/or services on the Wax blockchain. With certain Hot Wheels NFTs, on a prescribed day listed in the metadata of the NFT, the owner receives a claim token that, in turn, can be cashed in online to order the physical item. Given the total number of NFTs of this type ever created is public knowledge on the blockchain, it is possible to know the maximum number of physical collectibles of this type there could ever be. Conceivably, a similar arrangement could be used to create a pre-order system for printed comics. Threefold Comics used a related NFT concept to issue both digital and physical rewards for their special glow-in-the-dark comic. Type 8. Music and audio. I am not aware of any specific comic NFT projects involving complete works of audio, but it is one area of the industry with a significant following, especially in the independent dance house DJ mixed music scene. Audio commentary and theme songs for comic books are rewards frequently offered on Kickstarter, and there's no reason that these couldn't be offered as NFTs. Another potential use might be the creation of an NFT with the full comic as a PDF and a described audio version for the visually impaired. Type 9. Fractional ownership. Would you like to own a copy of Detective Comics 140? What if you don't have the 40K plus handy? You'd need to buy a CGC 7.5 graded copy of this 1948 Batman comic. The Dibs trading platform makes it possible to own NFTs that represent a fraction of a high-value comic like this. They hold the actual physical comic in custody on behalf of all of the owners involved. A Dibs user who eventually gains 100% of the fractional tokens associated with a specific comic can take possession of the item from the custodian and have it shipped to an address they provide. If you believe a comic will be worth more in the future, this offers a way to keep pace with its increasing value while getting closer to owning it a little at a time. Type 10. Gaming. In-game item NFTs are taking off in the metaverse. Think ships, weapons, and supplies to use in elaborate virtual worlds. The emerging lore and fan engagement with these environments provides fertile ground for comics. For example, they launched the first comic NFT for the Star Atlas metaverse in November 2022. Even though the full game release is likely years away. The team brought Matthew Medney, then CEO of Heavy Metal Magazine, on board as their head writer for the project as a whole, and Tim McBurney as the creator of the first Star Atlas graphic novel. Type 11. Tickets and passes. Some comic NFT teams have created NFTs that are the equivalent of a ticket or club challenge coin. These often have utility, things like early access to new comic releases, discounts, subscriptions, party admission, etc. Type 12. Metaverse items. I recently had a Zoom call with the Web3 space game designer about the possibility of adding the logo for the Lump Sum Saga as a cockpit charm NFT. We even chatted about the possibility of having the readable comic PDF linked to the charm as an Easter egg. The potential for having comic NFTs inside other NFT metaverses is an emerging opportunity. As interoperability standards emerge, these types of items will be able to move from one game or metaverse ecosystem to another. Type 13. Storytelling NFTs. Storytelling NFTs are relatively new, so the precise definition is in flux. As the name implies, they are digital comics that tell a story. Imagine the intersection of fan fiction and NFT communities. Sometimes these NFTs involve traditional sequential storytelling. A creator takes their PFPs with commercial rights and then combines them with word balloons into a multi-panel GIF or video to tell a joke, tell a short story, or offer a backstory. Other storytelling NFTs are keys to online lore portals. I'm particularly interested in seeing how this category of NFTs evolves. Summary: if it can be produced as a digital file, it can be turned into a comic NFT. For the remainder of this book, the type of NFT I'll have in mind when describing things is an NFT that includes the PDF for a full comic book. It is the version of NFT I'll be creating from my own work. However, most of the information included in these pages applies to any type of comic-related NFT you choose to offer your fans.